Right now at 8, the district and the Department of Justice striking a deal on the city's police force. Who's in control at MPD this morning as the federal crackdown continues? President Trump returning to Washington after a high-stakes meeting with Putin in Alaska. A closer look at his discussion with the Kremlin to end the war in Ukraine. Plus, weekend travel chaos. Air Canada canceling trips across the country after thousands of flight attendants went on strike. Why they walked off the job and how it could impact your plans. Hey everybody, good morning. Welcome to Fox 5 Morning on this Saturday, and for joining us right here on Fox 5, streaming also on Fox Local. We're getting things started with the live look outside right now. This is Saturday, August 16th. It is looking hot and hazy out there, Capitol Dome. Yeah, that's the kind of day we're on tap for, but let's get the full details from Gwen Talbert, who is jamming and dancing. You know my dancing friend is always swaying to the groove.
Did you hear that song?
Yes.
You got a little more volume on that?
She's bringing sexy back. Hey, it's party. Woo.
Well, it's going to be too hot and humid outside today to be partying. Unless you're going to Chuck Brown Day, right?
Yes.
Then it's going to be fabulous out there.
I love that,
I might have to think that. I might have to make my way down to the park. Yeah, okay. Let me get my weather on here, because before I know it, I'll be out of time. And I don't want to be out of time to tell you what's happening. Hot, sticky, humid. Oh, yeah, then I don't want a house guest. Can't get rid of it for the next couple of days for this weekend at all. But also a little unsettled, and I'll talk about that in a second. But in the meantime, here's where we are, 78 degrees. We've got some clouds. We've got this marine flow that's kind of made its way in off the ocean, and so marine layer, I should say. So we're seeing those clouds, easterly wind at about 7 miles an hour. So ridge of high pressure trough, we're going to see a cold front impact us as we get into tomorrow. The unsettled part comes a little later today when some storms will fire up west of the Blue Ridge. So not looking at any of that really impacting the Beltway, but we're going to throw it in there just in case. 75 at Gaithersburg this hour, 76 at Dulles, 79 at Frederick already. Here's your planner for the day as we head to the low 90s for a daytime high. And as I said, there is a chance that we could get a rumble of thunder, but looks like it's going to be far west over the Appalachians and the mountains. So all our viewers out there, stay weather alert. I've got the 7-day forecast on the other side, so stick around. Maureen?
Gwen, thank you. We begin with D.C.'s police chief back in control of the city's police force this morning. The city's attorney general stopping what he called a hostile takeover by the Trump administration. A judge ruled on the matter less than 24 hours after a major escalation by Attorney General Pam Bondi, putting the head of the DEA in charge of MPD. Fox 5's Bob Barnard has details on the agreement.
The federal district judge, Ana Reyes, didn't really have to make a ruling. She had a temporary restraining order coming from the city before her, but what she ended up doing was telling the sides, the attorneys for the District of Columbia working under the Attorney General's office for D.C. and the Department of Justice attorneys to get together and make a deal. And what they did decide was, yes, Pamela Smith will remain in charge of D.C. police, at least for now. I want to show you a picture of the gentleman who was at the center of this. This is Terry Cole, the current head of the Drug Enforcement Administration. The U.S. Attorney General, Pam Bondi, had put him in charge, saying he was an emergency police commissioner. This was in an order from her office last night that he would be in charge of D.C. police, pushing Pamela Smith off to the side. Well, the D.C. Attorney General said, we're not having anything of that. This would sow chaos in the city. This would be dangerous and detrimental to the city. So they came here to federal court, and indeed, the judge, who was definitely siding on the side of the city, saying, look, President Trump can't just appoint someone in charge. He can work with the mayor's office here in D.C. and the police department, but he can't install an ultimate ruler. And so the parties did get together during a break at about 3 o'clock, and they figured it out. Here is D.C. Attorney General Brian Schwab after the ruling.
We don't need a hostile takeover from the federal government to do what we do every day. And my hope is we can get past this and get back to doing the hard work of continuing to drive crime down in our city, because any crime in our city is too much.
Now, immigrant rights advocates were telling us they were also alarmed by what was happening, especially the police checkpoints like this one on 14th Street earlier this week, where drivers were being targeted. The judge here today seemed to indicate MPD does need to work with ICE and the federal authorities on the streets of D.C. Chief Pamela Smith caught some ire from the feds by saying, no, we don't. The judge said, yeah, you do, but that's not yet part of this clarified order. CASA is sending out what they call a red alert as a result of this.
if you are an immigrant, and unfortunately, if you are Black and brown, right, your risk of being in DC right now is extremely high. And unfortunately, there's no way to really track where a checkpoint might be established.
So again, two things here. The judge didn't rule on this, actually, but said D.C. police do have to work with the federal government if they want, the federal government wants D.C. police to work with ICE, but also that Pamela Smith is in charge, nobody installed by the White House.
A juvenile curfew is underway in D.C.'s Navy Yard neighborhood. It's the first one to take effect since President Trump's federal takeover. Agents patrolling the area last night. The curfew zone lasts through Monday between 8 and 11 each night. Until then, people 17 years old and younger will not be allowed to gather in groups of 9 or more in public spaces. This week, law enforcement also continuing to remove homeless encampments across the district. This is part of the president's plan to clean up D.C. According to some residents, the city gave them until Monday to leave. Some other people have already been asked to take down their tents. We're bringing you the latest updates on Trump's D.C. takeover as they happen. You can stay up to date on all of the new developments with the Fox Local app. It is free for your phone and smart TV. Just scan the QR code on your screen to download Fox Local now. We also have more important information on fox5dc.com. I want to take you now overseas. No deal has been reached to end the war in Ukraine. Instead, Russian President Vladimir Putin says he and President Donald Trump have reached an understanding. The two held a press conference yesterday following a high-stakes summit in Alaska with the goal of ending the war in Ukraine. Now, during the conference, Putin also issued a warning to Europe.
I would like to hope that the agreement that we've reached together will help us bring closer that goal and will pave the path towards peace in Ukraine. We expect that Kiev and European capitals will perceive that constructively and that they won't throw a wrench in the works. They will not make any attempts to use some backroom dealings to conduct provocations to torpedo the nascent progress.
President Trump holding on to hopes for peace following the summit. The commander-in-chief sat down exclusively with Sean Hannity on Fox News last night, saying he views the meeting as a success.
As far as I'm concerned, there's no deal until there's a deal, but we did make a lot of progress. I mean, we were together almost 3 hours, and it was very extensive, and we agreed on a lot of points. I mean, a lot of points we're agreed on, but there's not that much. There's, you know, 1 or 2 pretty significant items, but I think they can be reached. Now it's really up to President Zelensky to get it done.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he does plan to meet with President Trump in D.C. on Monday on the matter. A Fox 5 News alert today. Tens of thousands of travelers are at risk of getting stranded after Air Canada cancellations all across the U.S. This morning, more than 10,000 flight attendants are on strike. A company lockout will reportedly follow. Right now, nearly 400 flights have been canceled, none in the D.C. region thus far. The union and airline have been in contract talks for 8 months now, with key issues like pay still unresolved. Most recently, the union representing Air Canada's flight attendants turned down the airline's request to enter into government-directed arbitration. Experts are warning the strike could impact around 130,000 travelers a day. 8:08 right now. We'll look at some of the other stories we're following in the Fox 5 newsroom. A man is dead after a hit and run in Prince George's County. Police say the victim was riding an electric bike around 8 last night between Shell Street and Billings Avenue in Capitol Heights when a pickup truck hit him. The man died at the scene and the driver left. And this morning, investigators are searching for the person who was behind that wheel. They're also working to determine the cause of the crash. A competency hearing has been ordered for Catherine Hoggle, the Maryland mother accused of killing her 2 children. That will happen in early September. Hoggle spent years in a mental health facility after being found incompetent to stand trial. She was recently indicted and faces new charges in the case. Prosecutors argue Hoggle's mental health has improved and believe she is competent to stand trial for murder. An Alexandria man is charged for allegedly murdering his 3-month-old child. 21-year-old Trayvon Anthony Hugie faces felony counts, including murder and child abuse. Alexandria police say in July of 2023, Hugie called authorities saying a child was in cardiac arrest inside an apartment. The child's death was later ruled a homicide. An Ashburn teacher waking up behind bars after getting caught in a child sex sting. Police say David Sabin planned to meet with a teenager for sex who turned out to be an undercover detective. He is also linked to another solicitation case from last October. Sabin faces multiple charges. He was terminated from his position at Oak Hill Christian School in McNair. Two convicted drug dealers are heading to prison after being sentenced to 15 years. 59-year-old Charles Cunningham, along with 57-year-old Tyrone Ragland, were sentenced yesterday. FBI agents built their case 2 years ago after a number of search warrants in the Northeast. More than 15,000 grams of PCP, along with 50 grams of cocaine and fentanyl, were seized at several homes. A reminder this morning for Metro riders, another round of construction will impact the Green Line this weekend. Trains will be replaced by shuttles between Anacostia and Branch Avenue stations today. And then tomorrow, work includes rail replacements, cable installations, and lighting upgrades. Trains are expected to run as normal by Monday morning. Coming up, the latest on the redistricting fight between Texas and California, why one governor is fighting fire with fire. Plus, Diddy scoring a legal win. After the break, details on lawsuit a judge just threw out. And Gwen has another look at today's weather as we head to break right now. The live look at the White House. Your full forecast coming right up.